Hi everyone, my name is Nina, and this is my video for the video assignment. So first, starting off with Sunset Boulevard, I have some notes on a Google Doc on my laptop to guide me through this because I had a lot of thoughts and I wanted to make sure that I was able to share them. But first, looking at Sunset Boulevard, some of my personal opinions about the film were that I did like the fact that the film covered the themes about Hollywood and vanity while pursuing a more dark and moody theme throughout the course of the film. Particularly, I think that the plot of the film, telling the story of a struggling screenwriter who becomes involved with the silent film star, is really essential to the forming of the theme of obsession and delusion, which can still be seen in Hollywood and is still extremely prevalent. I think along with this, the theme of corruption is also really present. And I think this can be particularly observed when Joe becomes more and more involved with Norma, and he begins to realize that she's unstable since Norma keeps her delusion of thinking that she is this famous star when in reality she hasn't worked or filmed a movie in years. And I think that this is very essential to the theme of vanity and obsession, like I was saying before, because the fact that Joe is still obsessed with Norma, despite the fact that she is delusional, I think shows how he is also delusional, but in more of an underlying sense, as her delusion is masked by beauty, whereas Joe is feeding into her beauty in order to mask his delusion and justify his delusion. And I think that this take definitely showed how dark Hollywood can be in terms of personifying a public image for stars thinking that they're still relevant when in actuality they have not been relevant for years, but in their minds they still are. Obviously in Norma's case, I think it was more a mix of her having genuine mental delusions as well as possibly an inflated ego as well. But I think that it was a very nice take of a classic Hollywood film. And then when talking about the other film we watched, Singing in the Rain, I think that this is also definitely a very much classic Hollywood film, but in a different way. I think that when talking about Singing in the Rain, this style of Singing in the Rain is something that I really enjoyed. I liked both movies. I enjoy how much of a bright and light film Singing in the Rain was, in terms of being more of a vibrant movie that showcases the talents of the film stars involved. But along with that, I think there's some irony due to the fact that Lena Lamont is in fact talentless, because she once again is an actress that's very extremely beautiful, but at the same time she's a talentless actor whose voice is not well suited for talking picture films. And she then uses Kathy's voice to dub over her own in the film that they're making, just because her voice is not well suited. But they still allow Lena to be in the movie due to her beauty, which I think is something that's very important and essential to dive into, because this is showing just the pure vanity that Hollywood is utilizing and making seem as essential, because truly at her core, Lena is essentially talentless and she's just a beautiful face. And this is what gets Dawn to allow her to star in the movie. But I think that something else that should be explored within this movie is the adaptation of the new technology that Dawn is forced to adapt to in terms of sound in movies. And I think that this is also extremely important because it brings in a topic other than just vanity and relationships in Hollywood. It also brings in the involvement of technology, which I think was extremely relevant in this time period as we're exploring the mid century of this era of movies and Hollywood. And I think that obviously during this time, Hollywood and movies weren't as evolved as they are now. And so I think to see the use of the need to continue with the times and evolve to new technology through the use of sound, as Dawn uses in the film, is also really important in terms of the plot line. And then when comparing the two movies, I think that they're very similar but also extremely different. And that's for multiple reasons. I think starting firstly with just the themes in the two movies and the way that they have been filmed. I think that Sunset Boulevard is definitely a more dark and moody film. And as I was saying before, it tells the plot of a struggling screenwriter who becomes involved with the silent film star. Whereas in Singing in the Rain, it's more of a film that showcases a more colorful and vibrant style of film. And I think that it is better in its utilization of the talents of its stars in comparison to Sunset Boulevard. I think that there's a lot more of a corruption and obsession delusion based theme for Sunset Boulevard, whereas there's more of an introspective theme in Singing in the Rain. And while both are involved in Hollywood style films in their plot lines, I think that these are the qualities that separate the two. And then if I were to give each of the films a score from 1 to 10, I think that I would give Singing in the Rain a score of 7, while I would give Sunset Boulevard a score of 8, just because I personally liked the more dark themes in Sunset Boulevard. But thank you so much for watching my video.